Hi, I'm Danny. I'm the physio at Kinsmen Lodge, and today we're here to talk about specialized equipment care instructions. So, what do we mean when we say specialized equipment? Essentially, that means anything related to or attached to a wheelchair, a bed, or a mattress. To make things a little bit easier, we just wanted to go through all the components of a typical wheelchair. Now, a basic wheelchair is a non-tilting wheelchair. It looks like this, but it doesn't tilt and it has fewer components. This is a tilting wheelchair. It's got the most components, so I'm going to go through this step by step. So we have at the very, very top, we have headrest, which is covered by upholstery. We also have this component here, which is called a backrest. Both of these items do have that specialty upholstery around the outside of it that sometimes does need to get washed. At a later point, we're going to be making a separate video on how to wash those specifically because they need some special care. Next, we have a lap tray. This is a hemi-lap tray, which means it's half. We do have lap trays that cover the entire wheelchair. They're used only in very rare circumstances. We also have cushions, and of course, you know that the cushions have a cover around them as well. As we go down the lower half of the wheelchair, we have our we have our calf pads right here. So this is one type of calf pad that we have. It's a rigid type. They flip back like this, and they're usually attached to our elevating leg rests. So this is an example of an elevating leg rest that goes up and down. Most of the leg rests at Kinsmen, though, are just stationary. They don't move. There is a second type of calf pad here. This is a soft one that has Velcros that attach to it, and they're usually placed in this position as well. So you'll see these most often, and they often do need to get cleaned as well. At the very, very bottom here, this little metal piece is called the foot plate, and this entire component that attaches to the frame of the wheelchair is called the footrest rigging. And I'll just demonstrate. We all know that they swing away and they can lift up and get removed from the chair as well. We also have a variety of different lap belts that can exist. So this is a 4-point lap belt. It's got 4 straps on, 2 on each side. And this is a pinhole cover or security pin lock. This is another 4-point lap belt. You can see there's 2 straps on either side. And this is called an easy open buckle. So it's much easier to open up. And this is just another one that is another easy open, but it's a red buckle. And there's only 2 straps. So this would be called a 2-point lap belt. So all of the specialty equipment is called specialty for a reason. And the reason is that there is almost always a healthcare professional, either an occupational therapist or a physical therapist that has been involved with assessing an elder and then prescribing the specialty equipment to them. It serves a very specific function in terms of positioning and often pressure relieving, as well as some other functions that often aren't always obvious to the rest of the staff here. So what we do just want you to be aware of is that when equipment is been allocated to an elder, there often is a variety of reasons for that. And that just leads to the importance of why we need to make sure that we're aware of what's been allocated to each elder and that they're all using the correct equipment. Failure to do so could have ramifications in terms of comfort, skin problems, mobility problems, fit issues, and overall comfort for the elder. Okay. All the specialty equipment also has a significant price tag associated with it. Just for reference, this whole wheelchair right here, the way it is, this is worth about $6,000. To break it down just a little bit, the headrest alone, this is probably a $400 headrest, but there are ones that go up to $1,000. Same with backrests alone. Just this one component right here can be about $1,000. The average cushion is $600 to $800, and to replace just one of these elevating leg rests, it's about $350. Together, they're about $500 or $600. So that just gives you a little bit of idea of the significant price tag associated with purchasing and replacing this stuff. And there's quite a significant effort that we put into maintaining this equipment to make sure that we have good quality equipment available to all of our elders when they need it. You know, another thing to consider is just that the person responsible for purchasing and maintaining this equipment is actually usually our elders. And, you know, as we know, they don't always have the resources to continuously pay for stuff to get fixed or replaced. So we just want to be extra conscientious about how we're handling the equipment and how we're maintaining it over time. Okay, so now we've reviewed, you know, the importance of having specialty equipment allocated to the right person. We reviewed a bit of the cost associated with this stuff. Now I want to tell you a little bit about the inventory. At Kinsmen, we maintain over 150 wheelchairs alone. Now that includes backrests, headrests, cushions, and other accessories on these wheelchairs. We maintain over 200 cushions and covers as well. That is a lot of items to keep track of. So in order to help us, you know, have some rhyme or reason to all of this and know where everything is at any given time, we've implemented a handy inventory process to help us keep track. So I want to show you a little bit about how we've done that. All right, so every single wheelchair has been fitted with a little name tag that looks like this. And inside of the pouch, we have a little label like this. Each label has some really critical information on it. We have the date that the wheelchair was provided, we have the elder's name, the elder's room number, and we have the code associated with the wheelchair that's been allocated, the cushion, the number of and type of footrests, and any other pieces of accessories that have been allocated, such as, you know, calf pads or lap trays. Okay, so knowing that, let's go ahead and help identify, you know, if this label matches up with the equipment that we see in front of us. So this label tells us that Jack Smith in room 302 is using wheelchair number 101. So now I'm going to go to the back of the wheelchair. I see that this is in fact a Kinsmen Lodge wheelchair. This is the size of the wheelchair. And right here it says number WC101. So that code does match our label right here. So we know that Jack Smith is using the correct wheelchair that's been allocated to him. Now I'm going to spin the wheelchair around and I'm going to show you a couple other places where we might be able to see whether or not he's using the correct wheelchair. So right here at the front, I always write the code again. So WC101, 18 by 18. So that's just another way that I can confirm that he's using the right chair. Now, in terms of the cushion, our label, I'm just going to check it again. It says cushion number CU003. So I'm going to look on the bottom right here and I'm going to see the code CU003. Awesome. So now we know that the cushion also matches. Wait a second. No. Now I know that the cover matches, but I need to actually double check that the cushion inside also matches. So I'm going to quickly open up the cover. I'm going to open up the cover and I'm going to make sure that the inside cushion also matches. So here we see cushion number CU003. And now we know that truly the elder has all the equipment that he's supposed to have. So let's move down to the foot plates. So this wheelchair has 2 foot plates and I can see right here on the top, I don't know if you can see that in the video, but I'll lift them up. So right here on the top, I have a label here that says wheelchair 101. They both match, and that matches the code on the wheelchair. So that's great. Another place that we can confirm whether or not he's using the right foot plate is on the bottom. So again, I've got wheelchair 101. We know that this is an 18 by 18 chair, and this is the right foot plate. So I can now confirm that this elder, Jack Smith, has all the proper equipment that he's supposed to have as indicated on the inventory label. So next I want to talk about roles and responsibilities. Once we have assessed, prescribed, and delivered equipment to an elder, from then on, we rely heavily on the rest of the staff to help us keep track of that equipment, to make sure that each piece of equipment that's been prescribed to an elder stays with that elder. Now we have a few suggestions on how you can help us do that. Number one is every single time you go to transfer an elder into their wheelchair, you can just double check. You can just say, oh, hey, look at the back of this chair. This is supposed to be wheelchair 101. And you can just glance at the code on the back of the wheelchair and just make sure that they match. Now, the most common thing to get mixed up is actually the cushion, because they're something that can be lifted up and they're usually taken out of the elder's broom. So that's another thing to check really quickly. Cushion number 003, you're going to transfer them into the chair. You can lift it up really, really quick and just glance at it and make sure that it's the same number. Now, as you are transferring that elder into the wheelchair, there's something else that's really important to check, and that's to make sure that the cushion is actually oriented properly inside the cover and on top of the cushion or on top of the wheelchair itself. Easiest way to do that is to take your hand, just swipe across the surface of that cushion. What you're going to feel is the contouring, and that means the little bumps and ridges in the cushion. I don't know if you can see this in the video, but there is some nice contour here and a nice little bump right here at the front. At the back, it's this nice smooth surface. Now, this cushion is designed specifically like this to help offload the bottom and help prevent the elder from sliding forward. So this is a very unique design for this cushion that our rehab professionals have decided is most appropriate for that elder. Now, if we accidentally put that cushion on sideways on the wheelchair, that elder might be sitting in a lopsided manner with, their leg right on top of the bolster, which might be uncomfortable. Or if we put it in backwards, that means their buttocks is right over top of the hard bolster right here at the front. That can lead to a pressure injury pretty quickly and a lot of discomfort. On occasion, what we see is the cover itself gets placed on backwards or upside down over top of the inside cushion. And what that leads to is essentially the elder sitting on the bottom of the cushion. So if you are that care aide and you're feeling that cushion first thing in the morning, you're like, it feels really, really flat and it feels a little bit hard, we do encourage you to literally pick it up, open it up, and see what it says on the inside of the cushion. We always have writing on the inside of the cushion to help indicate what's the top, what's the bottom, and what is the back of the cushion. So this is a really quick way of noting where the back of the cushion is, where the bottom of the cushion is, and other notes like do not remove the inner cover. So just to remind you, most of our cushion covers are incontinent proof, meaning they have a waterproof surface to them. And some of them have a zipper on the inside, but if you open up that zipper, you can see that it's just foam on the inside. Now, if that is the case, we want you to know to never, or please never, take this cover off. And the reason is, as soon as you remove that outer protection, it leaves the foam exposed. This is a porous surface, and as soon as liquids come into contact with it, it's impossible to clean it. So that means if it's soiled by any kind of human waste, like urine, feces, this cushion is essentially going to have to be removed from inventory and thrown in the garbage. We've already reviewed the cost and the expense of replacing this. This is about a $600 cushion. So we just ask that you're very careful to always keep the cushions nicely protected and appropriately with their covers. And that's a really easy way to help preserve the longevity of these cushions. Okay? So we have learned how we can use the labels on the inside of the cushion to help identify what's top, what's the bottom, what's the back, what's the front, and how to ensure with our visual inspection or a manual inspection of the cushion to make sure that the bump is always at the front and in the center. Okay? Okay, so what we're asking is for your help on a day-to-day basis to just double check that all the equipment is consistently matching, or the codes on all the equipment is matching the labels on the back of the wheelchair on a daily basis. Now, what are you going to do if you notice all of a sudden one day that the cushion that's on that elder's wheelchair no longer matches with the code that's on the label? What are you going to do? Well, I have a couple of suggestions. First is most likely that cushion has been accidentally swapped during a wash day with another elder on the same unit. What you can do is you can go room to room and essentially look at the labels on the back of everybody's wheelchair, and you can figure out, maybe where that cushion really belongs, and likely this one has been swapped with that one. Sometimes we find cushions that have been washed recently, they're still in the tub room drying, or often they're still in the elder's actual room, and somehow that elder just ended up with 2 cushions by accident. So if all else fails and you still are unable to find where the cushion belongs or who this cushion really belongs to, we're going to give you access to our live inventory Excel document. This is a live document that lives on the computer that every single nurse is going to have access to. So you can use this to track down, using the code, which elder every single piece of equipment belongs to, and hopefully that way you'll be able to unravel the mystery and locate all your missing equipment. Now, if that still doesn't work and you've done everything you can to search the unit and search everybody's wheelchair for the missing equipment, you still can't find it, we have reinforced multiple times already how important it is for elders to have the correct equipment. If you can't find the correct equipment, please call us and we're going to help you track it down, because we know how it can negatively impact our elders to have the wrong equipment over a longer period of time. So please don't hesitate to send us a referral and let us know what's going on. Let us know what you've done to try and track down the missing equipment, and we can get involved and do our best to help rectify the situation. I've already mentioned how much equipment that we have floating around Kinsmen at any given time. In order to make sure we have the appropriate equipment available when an elder needs it, we need your help in returning all the unused equipment that's floating around on all the floors back to us. So what we ask is for your help in identifying anything that's being unused, that's being stored in a random room or a random closet. If you find anything that's not currently being used or allocated to somebody right at this moment, to please have it washed, send it down to our office with a little note about where it came from. That way we can make sure that it's going to get reprocessed and it's going to be made available to the next person that needs it. So we thank you in advance for your help in helping us keep track of all this equipment and making sure that our elders have everything that they need at any given time. If you have any questions about anything that we've covered in this video, please don't hesitate to let us know, or your managers know, and we'd love to help you out. Thanks.